All right, let's welcome to the program. We love her. She does such a great job on the all PHLY Phillies show. Nene, Renee Washington. Good morning, Nene.
Morning, cuz. How are you?
I'm great. After last night, come back. The fight. You got to love the fight in the fightins.
Oh, yeah. And this is what the Phillies have been doing. They've been finding ways to grind out wins. And it's something that they've talked about. Bryson Stott, the hero of last night, has mentioned that himself. Every day it's a different pitcher. It's a different hitter. It's a different guy that's stepping up. And even with injuries, they still found a way to squeeze out that win last night. When you win, winning is contagious. It's fun, and it doesn't always have to be pretty, but a win is a win.
Well, and here's the other thing, too, is you're going up against a terrific closer, right? He's got great stuff. He's got a 2-run lead. He hadn't blown a 2-run lead, I think, once in 2022. Obviously, he was hurt last year. But, like, you got a tough pitcher, and Stott gets it started, right? Like, this team, no Turner with the injury. JT's a little banged up, so he didn't start again. And you look at him, first game against the Mets in a 4-game home and home for 2 apiece. And that's, to me, is a statement. Like, they haven't even gotten hot. Like, Schwarber hasn't gone on a tear yet. Bryce really hasn't gone on that tear where he carries you for, 3 or 4 weeks. And they're still 29-13 and getting wins.
That's the thing. People keep trying to look for reasons to discredit the success of the Phillies at the early part of the season, the hottest team across the league. And when you look at that game against Edwin Diaz, they made one of the best closers in the league. Granted, coming off of an injury, but still, he's one of the best. And they caused him to make mistakes. They got after him. And it's not Bryce Harper. It's not Kyle Schwarber who actually struck out as a pinch hitter late. It is Bryson Stott. It's Cody Clemens who gets the call up and has been. Every time he's called up, he's delivered.
Yeah.
It's Edmundo Sosa making big plays. This team, what's making them the most successful is it's not just one guy. Trey Turner goes down. We all get nervous with that 6-week injury to his hamstring. It doesn't matter. The team continues rolling. Alec Bohm playing phenomenal. It's just been a number of different guys that are contributing, and they're getting after the best. Jose Barrios, Edwin Diaz, guys that are coming in with incredible ERAs, incredible numbers on the season. I don't care if their team is below 500. You're beating guys. You're beating teams. It's Major League Baseball. It's never going to be easy, and they're making some of the best at times crumple. That's what the Phillies are doing. They're bringing the pressure. They're bringing the heat, and they have that next man up mentality. It's been fun to watch. Even with JT down, Garrett Stubbs, who got so much heat, we were talking about him on the show, how he has not historically done well with Zach Wheeler when he's catching for Zach Wheeler. We saw that on Sunday. But goes out, gets a bunt, gets a play, sets up for the Phillies to get on the scoreboard. It doesn't matter if they are 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position, leaving guys stranded. The Phillies are still, when it counts, down the stretch for the most part, able to win.
Well, just the other thing, Renee, too, is, grinding it out. So you look at Whit Merrifield, who's been struggling, right? Like, he's been scuffling. They put him at the top of the order. And last night, he works a walk. He works the count to 3-2, gets the walk, and then that sets the stage for Bohm to be hit and to force in the tying run. And a guy like that plate discipline to be able to grind out that at bat, even when you're scuffling, right, allows that game to go to, because you force the pressure on Diaz, and then he winds up hitting Bohm.
And that's something I remember us complaining about in the playoffs, especially in the NLCS, that the Phillies weren't giving good at-bats. It was home run or bust. And we wanted them to be able to play small ball and be able to get after pitchers. And they've been doing that. I mean, this entire season, for the most part, we've seen opponents, starting pitchers, already having to get talked to by their coaches. First inning, second inning, pulled by the third or fourth inning. They're running up the pitch count early on pitchers. And yet again, last night, we saw that against the Mets. The Mets are going to Mets, and we love to see it. But we saw the Phillies yet again had the plate discipline to get walks, to be able to just keep the inning alive. Whereas at other times in the past, it might have been a 1-2-3 inning. So they are making those minor adjustments. I think what people are missing is it's not flashy. You look at teams like the Dodgers and, of course, even the Braves before their fall from grace. And it feels like the Phillies aren't flashy. They're not fun. It's ugly wins at times. But they're giving you the minor tweaks, the late adjustments, the bullpen stepping up that's allowed them to be able to be the best in the league right now. So it doesn't always have to be flashy. A walk, getting hit by a pitch is just as successful as you smashing a home run out of the ballpark.
Yeah, it was funny. I was watching late night. The Dodgers come on, and Betts, they're playing San Francisco, and Betts starts the game with a home run. And I'm just looking at them, and I'm going, Yamamoto's on the mound for them. And I was watching because you could see the showdown. And listen, I'm not discounting Atlanta because that lineup is so dangerous, and they always find a way. But it looks like it could be a showdown, Phillies Dodgers again. Like we have had these, if you go way back in the day, Larry Bow was on, they played the Dodgers. They had that thing. During the last great run from 07 to 11, twice the Phillies beat the Dodgers, right, to get to the World Series. It was the back-to-back. So it feels like it's going to be another showdown with that squad, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Listen, the Dodgers are a fun team to watch. It's great for baseball. Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Tyler Glass now, how he's come into the team. Of course, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the young superstar that he is, and how he's emerging to finally be able to pitch at the level that everybody expected. It took him some time. This team is fun to watch. And I know I've been talking a lot about them on the show because I've got Mookie Betts on my fantasy team that's doing really well, because you haven't heard the buzz, but my fantasy team's top of the league thanks to Mookie. And I will say, though, in all seriousness,
is your partner Jamie Lynch in that league?
Oh yeah, he's getting killed, and I love it because I'm the one that's like top of the league.
You're smacking him around. That's fantastic.
And every show, I'm making an effort to make sure to remind them that my team is top of the league. Bryce Harper and Mookie Betts are leading the way. But what I will say is for the Dodgers and the Braves, the difference is they're running the same guys game in and game out. And I'm not watching every single game. I can't act like I watch every Braves Dodgers game the way I watch every Phillies game. But what I love about the Phillies is they are building depth. Christian Pache and Edmundo Sosa go 5 for 9 between Friday and Saturday of this past weekend. When everybody was wondering, why aren't we seeing Marsh get the start twice out of the weekend? It doesn't matter. Whoever is out there is performing, and it's a lot of times been the bottom of the batting order.
Yeah, Rojas, the home run the other night. And even I love Marsh, right? I'm a Marsh fan. And you look at him stealing bases and just being a pain, right? He's just a great pest, Marsh.
He's fun to watch. Honestly, he's one of my favorite players on the team to watch. I just love his energy. He brings some swagger. He brings some fun to the game. And also he's a guy that's, takes chances and plays aggressive. The Phillies overall have been playing very aggressive, but I feel like he's one that contagious energy has been rolling through the team. You see them stealing more bags. I think it was like 49 to the first 41 games or something like that. They're stealing more bases. They're taking chances. It doesn't always pay off, but when it does, we love it, and it's great to see. So it's fun that it's not just the top of the batting order, and I really feel like down the stretch, injuries, with the longevity of the season, with whatever could happen in the course of 162 games and more once you get to the playoffs, that's what's going to help the Phillies be a team that's really dangerous to match up with late in the season.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit because the WNBA tips off tonight, all right? And look at you. You're all ready. So give us a little primer because Caitlin Clark makes her debut, and give us some primer on it because – I have to fill you in on something a little bit. I need your expertise here.
Well, okay, there's lots to unpack with the WNBA. Listen, Caitlin Clark's debut is much-watched TV, much like we just saw with Paul Skeens and the Pirates this past weekend. We love when you get to see the debut of young talent. We saw it with Wemby and the Spurs in the NBA. We just saw it with Paul this past weekend. We're going to see it with Caitlin Clark tonight as the Indiana Fever get a chance to take on the Connecticut Sun. Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston are going to be a really fun young duo to watch because we saw them go head-to-head in college. Of course, we saw the March Madness, the Final Four, all the games that they had against each other, and now they get to be teammates. And that's always incredible to watch how that transition happens of going from opponents to teammates or vice versa. So they're going to be a very young team to watch this year. Obviously, everybody is tuned in to see how Caitlin Clark is going to transition into the league. In preseason, she's done really well and showed that that same shooting prowess that she has is going to be able to help. It's like Steph Curry. It's hard to defend. It's unpredictable. You never know when she's going to pull up. She also has the ability to make great passes. And I'm excited to see that in the league because there are other players that can do the same thing. You've got a team like the New York Liberty who takes on the Washington Mystics tonight. The Liberty who have Sabrina Ionescu, who we saw obviously go head-to-head with Steph Curry in the NBA All-Star Weekend. She's a sharpshooter. You've got Breanna Stewart. You've got Jonquel Jones. That's their big three that they have, along with other complementary pieces like a Betnaja, Lainey Hamilton. They're one of the top teams in the league last year and should be again this year. And then, of course, the reigning champs, the Las Vegas Aces, who now are without Candace Parker after she announced her retirement, which is extremely exciting for her. She's taken over at Adidas for the women's basketball division. So continuing to still, uplift women's sports and all that she's done. But the Aces without Ace and Candace Parker still have Kelsey Plum. They still have, of course, Asia Wilson, the two-time MVP. They've got a lot of great talent there. And actually, Caitlin Clark's former college teammate, Kate Martin's on that group as well, one of the young talents. So the Aces are definitely, and the Liberty, the front runners of teams to watch. But there's a lot of great basketball that should be played across this league.
So when Caitlin Clark comes in, how big is the target on her back? Like, how much is there resentment around the league for all the attention that she garners?
I think it's being misunderstood. The players don't hate Caitlin Clark. I think what the issue is, people are just expecting that Caitlin Clark's going to come in and dominate, come in and be dropping 40 points a game and unstoppable. And it's actually very similar to when you look over the past, we've seen big names that come into professional sports. I'm going to use the NBA as an example to speak in NBA terms for people that don't understand the WNBA. That is like this past season saying Wemby's going to come in and the Spurs are going to win it all and he's going to be the MVP. That's not the case. You still knew you had defending champs in the Denver Nuggets and Jokic and Jamal Murray. You still knew you had a very hot Minnesota Timberwolves team that we didn't even expect to be this good. LeBron, Steph, KD. That's what it felt like, almost a disrespect or a slight to the talent that's in the WNBA, because there are so many players that are better than Caitlin Clark, honestly. And to say she's going to come in and just run the league is, in a sense, not aware of the talent that's there. Again, you wouldn't say that about Wemby. We were all excited about him. We knew he was going to be a generational talent coming in, and that was going to just completely allow this Spurs team to be fun to watch. But we also knew it was going to take time for them to truly be a championship contender, and it still will. And I think the Fever are in the same boat. It's going to be exciting to watch Caitlin Clark come in. Every time she steps on the court, it's going to be a sold-out crowd. We already see that tonight. But it's going to take time for the Fever to truly build around her to be a championship caliber team. If anything, they'll be a team that's fighting to even just, get in the playoffs and have a deep run.
So how long do you think Philadelphia, until Philadelphia gets a team? Like we saw that, San Francisco and the Bay Area got their team. What are you hearing from expansion?
Well, the news of the weekend, it's not just about Drake's beef with Kendrick Lamar, because I'm sure you've been tapped into that. It's also that the Six is getting another team. So Toronto actually took that last spot. Originally, it was Portland who pulled out for whatever reason. So Toronto is getting the next WNBA team, which is unfortunate. Philly was in the mix. It was like Nashville, Philly, Toronto, and ultimately the league is expanding into Canada, which I think is a great move. We know how Toronto sports typically have been really trailblazing for opening the door for more professional sports in Canada. I think Philly is next. It has to be. We look at what this city brings as a fan base, and all the pieces are already there. The fan base is there. The sports excitement is there. You've got generational fans. You've got generational talents that have come out of Philly. Looking at Dawn Staley, for example, who just won another college championship with South Carolina. Players, coaches, phenomenal names that come out of Philly, and some of the best in basketball. So I would imagine the next couple of years, we're going to probably get an expansion team coming out of Philly. It just comes down to the details of the business side. Can they have an arena to play in? Can they get the backing and supporters and investors? But the desire is there. I think the league also wants the city to have a team. The team that happened in Philly before was actually a team Dawn Staley was on. I think they were the rage or the fever or the fire back in the day. It's escaping me right now, but it's been too long. It's time to bring women's basketball back to Philly.
All right, so I got to ask you a question. You were a great athlete growing up, incredible. You played soccer. You're an elite soccer player. You played basketball, right? Like you were an elite athlete. So I have a conundrum. So my Massimo has a concert tonight. He does band, trumpet, all right? Now, he also plays baseball, and he's got a baseball game. Now, he does the band, like he forgets his trumpet constantly, right? So we said that he would not be at the concert because he's got a baseball tonight. And he would rather play baseball. Right? So am I making a mistake here, allowing him to go to baseball? I'm going to ask all of our guests, and you as an elite, youth sports athlete, I'm sure you probably had these things. Were you in band growing up?
I played the violin. I was in the orchestra. So I was, I was out there.
Erudite, like you have it all. What now? If you had to choose between soccer and the violin for a concert, what would you choose?
I did have to choose, and I chose soccer. I chose sports every time. Honestly, that is the sacrifice that you have to make. And even as you're mentioning it, I was like thinking back to all the times I had to miss events, school events, concerts, whatever it may be, to go play, especially the games, not baseball practice. We're talking about games, because we're not talking about practice. Listen, when it comes to a game, you have to make the sacrifice. If that's the priority, and you know that he's better and more committed to baseball, and that's his passion versus playing the trumpet, being in the band, which might just be more for fun and keep him active, got to go with baseball all day. But it's always good to teach him to have that conversation with your band director, to be mature and responsible, but ultimately...
With the Garganos, the band director. Band director's not happy with the Garganos. And because my wife is getting put on the griddle, means I'm on the griddle.
Oh, man. Sorry to hear that. Sorry you're sizzling a bit. But look, it's a game or it's a concert. Which would we rather have? We'd rather be out there at the game than sit and watch the concert. And let's be honest, at that age, the concerts aren't always great. It's long, it's a lot. So choose the game all day. And I did that. I sacrificed so much in my youth that I missed. And I look back and I'm like, I didn't miss anything. I'm glad that I missed out and had a chance to go do what I love, play sports, play soccer, travel all over, be a part of so many championships and historic moments. And I would do it all again if I had the chance. So sorry, band.
Thank you. And Renee played at LaSalle. She was, you still coach right now, right?
I can't anymore. I don't have time with reporting, having me flying and traveling all over and covering games all the time. But I did coach youth soccer for like about 10 years. It was a lot of fun. I coached college soccer. I coached youth soccer when I finished playing back in 2014. And I loved it, honestly. It was incredible to go from playing professional soccer to then turning around and coaching and giving back to the next generation. And it's also just great because now where women's sports are as a whole, as we're even talking about the WNBA's 28th season, the NWSL, which is underway, all the excitement around women's sports. It's fun. Women finally have an opportunity to have an inspiration to grow up to play at a professional level. And even for myself, I didn't even have that growing up. And I'm only 31. And growing up for me, you didn't have the same opportunity. So it's great to see women's sports be able to have women aspire to be a full-time professional athlete in the United States and get the much needed treatment and opportunities that they deserve. Well,
you are a great ambassador. And you do great work here at All PHLY. We love you. Renee, what are you guys doing today? What time are you guys on, you and the bro?
Yeah, we've got a post-game show today. So second game of this home-and-home series for the Phillies. Hopefully they can continue to, continue their winning ways. And after the game versus the Mets, or I should say top of the ninth against the Mets, we should be going live with our post-game show and recapping all the fun. Hopefully it's fun.
I think so. Looking forward to it. Nene, we love you. Great stuff.
Thank you for having me. Later, cuz.
There is. She is. Renee Washington does such a great job.
We all city like the mayor.